What's up, everybody?
Hello, beautiful people.
Happy Sunday. I'm actually surprised to see so many in here at the start. You know, it's Mother's Day, so you never know what people are doing. And we were literally talking, saying, well, hey, a lot of people may not be here, so maybe they'll just come back and catch the replay. But so glad to have you. Thank you for joining us for our 5th week of Sunday sessions. This has been incredible. Hey, Sharon. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. It was an incredible opportunity to be on there. I'm looking forward to being back again. But we've been doing this for 5 weeks now. How have you been feeling about it? Yeah.
It don't even feel like 5 weeks, honestly. But we went over a lot of information. So
we did. I think there's been a lot of good info in these sessions. Of course, just to kind of give some I don't want to say house rules, but you know the routine. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert notification bell, consider joining our community, consider volunteering in our community, because this is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Now, if you signed up for our email list or to volunteer, please remember to check your spam folder. Yep. Sometimes it may fall in there. Yep. So keep us abreast if you were able to receive them or not. Also, check out last week's Sunday session if you haven't already. And if you have and you need a recap, hey, feel free to watch it again. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Also, Darante, like Sharon mentioned, was on Truth Wanted on Friday. And he had a blast with that team and with Objectively Dan.
Yes.
And so if you can go to Truth Wanted, you can go and catch that as well if you haven't already. For those who have accepted the invitation to connect last week, we will be reaching out to you this week. Please excuse our progress. We are still getting everything in rhythm and are seeking help as well. Right, babe?
Absolutely. And I do want to add one announcement. It just popped up on my phone a few weeks ago. Look, Rural King is getting free advertisement in the background. Oh, they're gonna owe me some money. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me get in there clear. It's just getting fuzzy, but Wes from Skeptic Haven just dropped a new clip from me that I did with him a few weeks ago called Three Tips of Wisdom from DaranteLaMar. Now, he did not do that especially because I'm just so wise. He's actually been doing these segments with a lot of people in the community and launching them on his channel. So if you know where my Facebook is, which, you know, it's me. My name is my name on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook and he's tagged me in that. As a matter of fact, let me make sure I add that to my profile. You know, you got to add stuff to your profile nowadays. You never know what people are going to tag you. You never know. But I added to my profile. You can go see it there. Not just to see my clip, because, you know, I do think that I share some helpful information, but also he's bringing a lot of other people out there. And so there's a lot of good stuff on that channel. So if you go to my Facebook, you can click that link. You'll find his channel and you'll find my video there. So you get all of that in one. Last week, we started something different at the end of our sessions. We started dropping some forms as we're kind of formalizing, I guess. And one of those forms was a "How may we help?" question. And we got, I wanted to answer one of those questions on air because it was just, what literature would you recommend to someone interested in any type of, any activism? And I do have a few recommendations for that. And these books are, oh yeah, I understand. Thank you. I do have a few books that I could recommend for activism. And these books particularly come from my personal library. And a few years ago, I actually made the intentional decision to shift from having a physical library to having a digital library for reasons such as these. So if any of these books, book titles or books that you're interested in, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to share with you the link. And that's why I started doing digital books. But Message to the People by Marcus Garvey. It is an old book. It is literally probably 100 years old now. But if you're interested in activism, I think that's a good place to start. Letter to a Christian Nation, specifically if you're interested, and that's by Sam Harris. If you're interested in secular activism, and though that book is not necessarily a handbook on activism, it is very poignant in the way it has its information laid out as to why we should probably get active about this. It is one of those books that I mentioned that kind of helped shake me out of what I called silent atheism, or probably a better way to say that was just passive atheism. It kind of shook me out of passive atheism and decided, you know, I'm actively a humanist, and it's because of my humanist values that I actually promote atheism the way that I do. But then also the Black Panther Party Service to the People programs. Now, this is not a book in a traditional sense. It is literally the blueprint to how the Black Panthers were planning on organizing themselves and some of the things that they plan to do. Many of you who've heard my story know a part of my story to getting to where I am now. I had to go through this Black nationalist phase, which some of that is still in there, which I think I talk about. But it's actually a lot of the stuff that I read in that particular book that sowed the seeds for the necessity of secular community. That's one thing about the Black Panther Party that does not get stated. It does not get shared. And that is that one of their goal was to build a secular, almost like a secular church. It was called the Son of Man Temple, in what they were doing. But you can read all of that information is in that, the Black Panther Party Service to the People programs. Message to the Grassroots by Malcolm X. That's also a great one. And then How Change Happens by Duncan Green. So those are just some, and there are so many more. So if any of you are interested in those in any of those types of books, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to share the link.
Awesome. Now those are all good chunks of books to read.
I thought
in
so.
itself, yeah. And so, all right, so hopping into this week, this is our final week of our introductory series that we have been calling our Thesis of Secular Community. And we've discussed a lot. Like we said, if you haven't seen the others or you're just starting to tune in, feel free to go back and watch. Today, we're going to pick up on the conversation by exploring a few key principles to aid in ensuring that the communities we build are supportive, right? Mm-hmm. We want every community to be supportive. So we're going to talk about that. And if you know anyone who may benefit from this type of conversation, let's go ahead. If you haven't already, go ahead and share, link them in, pull them in so we can all continue to grow together. That's what we're all about here.
Absolutely. Okay. And also, if you're interested in being the catalyst for community in your own local area in affiliation with us, we have some exciting news for you. We're building out ways to try to make that happen. Good morning, Dee.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Literally one of my favorite mothers in the world. Yes. I love it. I love it. I'm going to add this to the stage to show y'all a little bit of what we've been working on. And let me go back full screen here so I'm not blind. But yeah, for those of you, if you're interested in being a catalyst for community in your local area and you kind of want to do it in affiliation with us, I wanted to share this with you because this is something that we're working on. Now, I told y'all, if y'all don't know yet, I'm hyper productive. So this is literally a 35-page document.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. 35-page document that I put together about how to build secular communities where you are. Literal blueprint, step by step, from grassroots to field work to mission critical, from building your team, what kind of things you'd want on your team. And mind you, a lot of this stuff is stuff we've already been talking about in these conversations. But in this, we go into a lot more detail. And hear me clearly when I say this, whether you're building community and affiliation with us or not is completely irrelevant to me. If you want to build community and you're like, but I don't want to be affiliated with you guys, that's fine. I'd still give you the information just because I want to see secular communities. I want to see more of them. I want people having places to go. My email, my inbox, my Facebook Messenger is filled with people saying, I wish there was community where I am. And so this is one way that we're playing our part. And if you haven't got it by now, what we kind of call our thing is the bridge. And I think it's for obvious reasons. What did we kind of tell you our purpose was? To be a better way to connect. And I think bridges are a better way to connect than jumping. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather walk the bridge than have to try to make the jump. And that's a funny plug because we have a book called Making the Jump.
Yeah.
But look, we go into stuff about even helping you choose a name because, most people, there are organizations out there like Sunday Assembly and Oasis, which I am a huge fan of. And if I felt we were doing the exact same thing that they were doing, I would just do one of those, but we're not. And I think you'll kind of see some of that in this. But one of their things is they all have to have the same name.
Yeah.
And so every Sunday Assembly is Sunday Assembly and every Oasis is Oasis. And that's just kind of like Hillsong to me. And so I don't necessarily want to do that. So no, everybody can look, we go into equipment and everything. Everybody can do your own names, all that stuff. So I'm not going through this. We're not going to go through this today, but I did want to let you know, this is literally the level of thought that we've really been putting into community. This is not just a play to build something where we are. This is strategic for me, at least, to find a way to get other people excited about building communities, to get other people passionate about it, to get other people interested in it. And then once you have people interested, excited, and passionate, to support those people. And that's really what the bridge exists to do, is we exist to help support people who are interested in building secular communities and whatever that may look like for you. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The secular community that we build may look a lot like church. It'll probably be the best church you've ever been to. But I know, right?
Woo!
It's I'm hyper productive, man.
Let's sleep.
Right? Yeah. I'm obsessed. I have some obsessive tendencies. I won't run from that. I won't run from that. But it's I've wasted a lot of time in my life, and so I'm using this time to make up for it. while I can, making the most of this one life that we all know that we have. And which that's actually Sunday Assembly's tagline, which I really like.
And that's a good point out, because as a family, we're a family of 6, so we have 4 kids, and they're all in double digits. Teens and preteens. So we have designated time for family time, and one of those times are dinner. We make sure we eat together, unless the older kids are out doing something, or recitals happening, practices and competitions, and so.
Which actually, just kind of shameless plug, just by mentioning that it's not accidental. Now, I will tell you that the way that I get things done is definitely not accidental. It is intentional. I don't talk about it much on my channel because I'm adamantly against hustle culture, right? And this is just me. And hustle culture is, every time you're talking to somebody, they're trying to sell you something, whether you need it or not. Now, with that being said, I do sell stuff, but actually, no, I don't really sell stuff because, and you'll find it, I'm really picky about stuff like that. Mental health support, absolutely. And that's actually some of the stuff we're going to get into today. Where was I going with that line of thought? I feel like I was going to go somewhere.
You're not into hustle culture.
Oh yeah, hustle culture. So I don't always try to plug everything that I do. Y'all have seen me on several interviews. I don't plug my books on every interview that I'm on. Actually, I think one that I was on, I literally told them, "Hey, this one book, it sucks. Don't buy this one. don't buy this one unless you just really want to support me." But yeah, and that's the Parenting on Purpose book. And it's not that it sucks. There's good stuff in it, but there's also stuff in it that I just don't stand by anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that. But no, as far as how we get stuff done and how we're able to do as much as we do, there's a model that I teach that I call the harmonization model. It doesn't matter what you call it, it's arbitrary. But it's kind of a way that I like to harmonize my life. I realized that balance wasn't effective for me, like trying to balance things, because once it's more than 2 things, you're no longer balancing, you're juggling. And I fucking suck at juggling. So what I set out to do is to create something a little new, something that works best for me. Also, again, I'm hyper productive. I'm interested in a lot of things. I'm writing several fiction novels right now. I'm interested in a lot of things. I want to do a lot of things. So yes, absolutely. So I created this type of model, and the what was going to be the next series of conversations, Please Don't Stop the Music, that was going to be about that model. That was going to be me walking or us sharing what that model is, how it's worked for us. Not to sell it, because Sunday sessions are free, so we don't charge you for the information we share here. These are just conversations. So that'll be stuff that I normally charge people for, but on Sunday sessions we'll be doing that free. That's exactly right for novels. Animated series that I have plans on working out, and then eventually, and I have some friends who are in production locally. I have a few screenplays that I've written that I want to turn into some things, and I also have some shows that I'm working on for later on, like HBO level. I still practice, absolutely, because almost everything that's out there for almost any type of support, whether it's mental health, whether it's drug, I don't want to call it drug abuse anymore, but you know what I'm saying? Just drug help, we'll just call it that for now. Yeah. Alcohol help, any of those things, almost all of those things really do tend to skew towards the idea of theism, and that, there's a higher power, and without that higher power, you're going to be in trouble, and it's just like, yikes.
And that's a good segue really to the first principle, because when I think of supportive communities, even in the mental health field, I think of offering safety and security to be able to work through things.
I think that's important, and you're right, that's perfect segue. The foundation of any community is a sense of safety and security. Members need to feel physically safe and emotionally secure to engage openly. And that's substance assistance. Thank you. That is such a better phrasing for that. Religious trauma is definitely a thing, even if you weren't actually religious for the most of your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, well, you did one hell of a good job. Substance assistance. I like that. I like that a lot more than substance abuse. I don't. You know, my mother was drug impacted for the majority of my life, and so I grew up around a lot of that. And for a lot of things, yes, there are some negative behaviors that can come from these things. But I also saw that the stigma that the community put on these things made it worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's so that's why I don't like that word abuse per se. Which again brings us back to this place, and that's why I'm keen on stuff like that, is because I want to make sure that people are emotionally secure around us.
Because it seems like we created at one point a kick out culture. If your family member was on drugs, they would kind of be prone to that, or if you're a teen.
You get pregnant, you get kicked out.
Things of that nature.
You get D's on your report card, you get kicked out, or you get kicked in the back. That was my story. I got kneed in the back.
So we have to find better ways than like just thinking of kicking out.
And it's evolved from kick out culture to cancel culture. You know, and it's just always finding a way to show people that you don't approve. You know, and it's like. Right. At some point, you do have to like draw a line, and it says, okay, should this even matter to me? You know?
Yeah.
And so, in building community, you want to be mindful of both people's physical safety and emotional safety. And physical safety isn't just being afraid of being physically harmed. Some people are very sensitive about their physical space. You know. And so that's why, you know, sometimes when you see community, shotgun wedding, wow, and that's how it goes. That's yikes, man. And it's, but I want you to see that. Do you see how easy it is to build community that's not healthy?
Yeah. Because
we're all so inculcated in we've all had very unhealthy experiences for the most part. And the sad thing about it is many of us are just now realizing that some of those experiences were unhealthy. And so imagine what you do with those experiences when you don't think they're unhealthy. You typically kind of put them on other people as well because it becomes so normalized. And so I will, you know, and that was just kind of a perfect call out there, because I will say when you're building community, and this is why we are not only trying to get people excited about it, but we are trying to let people know, like, hey, there's a lot of work in this, because it requires a hell of a lot of paying attention. And that's paying attention to people, you know. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is good that you're able to work through that.
Yes. Fundegelical world. I love that. And so just some ways to do that is to establish clear community guidelines. You know, that's some boilerplate stuff. Another thing is to conflict resolution mechanisms. And the reason I want to say this is, like, almost most of the emotional damaging things that I've seen happen in communities, whether they were secular or non-secular, are things that happened around conflict, that there wasn't a plan of action in advance to how to deal with this. Conflict is something that is always a bad idea to deal with. Hindsight. You kind of want to plan for conflict. You want to know that conflict will happen. You want to understand that people will disagree. You want to understand that somebody will do something offensive, or somebody will be offended by something likely not offensive. For example, we had a situation years ago when we were trying to help out a Baptist church, and there was a young lady who was singing a part, and she was sure that the young brother on the keyboard was laughing at her. No fun in it at all. She was sure, James. She was sure that the young man on the keyboard was laughing at her, and she held that against him for the rest of his life. I mean, he's not dead yet, but to this day, she still holds it against him, because in her mind, he laughed. Now, we were watching the whole situation. He never laughed at her. He didn't even look at her. Yeah. But her own insecurities about those things was like, nope, he's picking at me. And I don't say that to say, oh, she's crazy. I'm telling you, that's people. Yeah. People do stuff like that. Yeah. People be peopling. One thing that I learned, like literally the same year I became an atheist, was the same year that I adopted the adage that people are people.
People are people, and you put nothing past
anybody. Like nothing shocks me about people.
Yeah.
It's all possible.
Yeah.
Yep. You tell me that my neighbors are running a reverse underground railroad. I can see that. I can see it. What's up, everybody? Okay. All right. And then of course, which actually this is something that people don't think about, but if you're building community, data privacy and security, whatever that means if you're collecting people's information, man, be intentional about protecting that.
Yeah.
And then let's just go beyond here, because what will happen when you start building community? What's one of the biggest things that we all kind of want from this community? It's almost like therapy, like counseling.
It's like intimate. You kind of want that intimacy.
Which brings me the C word, confidentiality. Yeah. All right. So not only do we need to know how to do oh dang, now which story? Was it the girl with the keyboard?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, young lady thought
we were in choir rehearsal basically.
Yep. And she thought the young man on the keyboard was laughing at her. He was not. But because she thought he was, then it just yes. But yeah, it gets like because community for us, it is going to be therapeutic in a lot of ways. You do want to think about confidentiality from the get-go, from the beginning. Like at what point does a conversation need to be protected? At what point does a conversation need not to happen in front of everybody else? These are things you need to think about, and there are various reasons for that. Yeah, organ keyboard. Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. I guess that would be different if there was at the piano, the computer, which we now use those with music now too. Yeah. But it's interesting. But you do kind of want to consider those things, and so there is no blueprint on safety and security for people because we are complex, which is beautiful about us. But if you're going to be intentional about building community, and mind you, please understand, my goal is to get you absolutely geeked about starting a community, whether you feel freaking qualified or not, just because there's that much of a need. And again, whether you do that in affiliation with us or not is completely irrelevant. I'm going to be excited either way because it's that much of a need. But please understand that the need is people who are going to pay attention to people. So it's not this idea of starting something because you have this really great idea and now you want other people to support this really great idea. That's typically not how this will work. This is about, I want to create a safe space for people, whether that's safe space for them to deconstruct and deconvert, whether that's safe space for them to explore the many different nuances of living, whether that's safe space for them to feel celebrated and for them to feel loved, whatever it is. Whatever your flavor is, I promise you there is a need for it. And the main thing that need is going to be is just somebody who will say, okay, I'll sign up to be developmentally responsible for this task. I'll sign up to pull other people together and to get them excited about this task. And what we're all going to do is to pay attention to those people and build things that fit them. Oh, yeah.
Younger people.
The easiest way is talk to them. Is have conversations with them. And again, I think secular communities will have a competitive edge here. There's two things. Pay attention to people who are already winning, in those areas. So find the communities, whether they're communities that we'd want to emulate or not, just find the communities who are already doing a great job of getting the attention of the younger people. And the youngins, I feel so old now. Younger than right? They're like, I feel personally attacked now. Do I need to start dyeing my beard? Oh, let me clutch my pearls. Let me stop. But I get it. But like maybe I'm technically a millennial, I think. Who are the people under us? Get off my lawn. Oh, you gotta go. That was oh man. That was James. Gen Z, get off my lawn. Girl Scout cookies. And Girl Scout cookies can go quite a few ways. I feel old, but not in the skeptic community, right? Yeah, I guess so. Hey, I'm not as old as
right,
Dawkins, right? You know, I'm not that old. But no, find the people who are already capturing the attention of young people and figure out why. Yeah. And that, believe it or not, that's not hard to do. And one of the places, I know y'all are gonna hate me for this, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Y, Gen Alpha. Okay. All right. So Gen Ys and Gen Alphas, they scare the hell out of me. Okay. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what's going on. And I'm just playing. Actually, I'm a butterfly. I'm like a caterpillar. That's neither one of those words are what I was looking for. Chameleon. That's what I was looking for. I can hang with all of them until it gets to about 9 o'clock. Then I need to go.
Until we start talking about little boats and yachts and
little yachties and little boaties. Like I don't know what's going on. I think I asked somebody. I said, "Why is the music so sad? Why is everybody? It's so colorful, but it's just so sad. I don't understand." No, but no. Some of there are some churches, and the reason I highlight churches, number one, because that's where the majority of my experience comes from. So you will have to deal with some of that bathwater. I apologize, but no, there are some churches which are, some of them are good models for secular community, because that's really, they're secular community that pretends not to be secular. Yeah. That's really how that goes. But like a lot of the urban seeker-friendly churches, they do a great job of attracting the youth, and they actually pissed off a lot of the older churches by doing it. And that was literally the main thing they did, was modernize the music and got rid of the flyers, and the flyers too, flyers and flowers. Yeah. I love it. Dang, that got better than I thought it was going to get. A lot of good stuff came out of that.
So that's good, leading to the next principle, which is basic communication.
Yeah. Create platforms for channels for communication. And, a lot of times people do things and forget why they're doing. So you create a Facebook page and you create a Facebook group, but then nobody talks on the Facebook group. And it's like, no, this was supposed to be a communication channel.
And then it turns into marketing and ads. Hey,
everybody's just marketing themselves. Yeah. Yes. Which, oh my goodness. Which I don't mind marketing, but I prefer smart marketing. So like if you're going to market to people who want what you have. Otherwise, this is not smart marketing. All the F words. I love it. Oh man, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Once safety is established, the next step is to facilitate basic communication among members. Encourage introductions and icebreakers. I will refer to James' "Get Off My Lawn" for the young folk. That is always a great icebreaker. Oh yeah. Yes. Yep. And I think support is a lost art form. Oh yes. You are right. Yeah. Yep. Because I was definitely a latchkey kid. I should have had my own little thing there. Introductions, icebreakers, discussions to maintain a respectful support. That was my rabbit trail. I was about to do a rabbit trail about support. I think support is a lost art form. And that was one of the things that I even noticed, especially while I was in church, because church, there were a lot of people with really good intentions who thought they were supporting other people, but they had convinced themselves that supporting you is snitching to the pastor. They had convinced themselves that supporting you is dragging you down to the altar. Hey. I don't know which one of you it is, but it's the Apostate Sisters. It could be Patty. It could be Nancy. We did just watch one of their videos yesterday, because we support like that, and we do. And it's not. And it's funny because we're talking about support, but it's not even just support. I really enjoy their content. Yeah. It's always eye-opening to me. It's always helpful for me. Apostate Sisters have taught me more. Just in that one video, and I'll always mention it, in that one video, like I realized that I had so many issues with my own human autonomy growing up. And had never personal autonomy, just never thought about it that way. And that's why I love conversations. That's why I love hearing people share content, man, because there's just so much you can learn about them and learn about yourself, which brings me back to my rabbit trail before we get back into the segue, which is support is a lost art form. And that's why when we were talking about that first section about safety and security, when I'm talking about if you're going to be a catalyst for community, and I want you to start a community, even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you don't feel like you're qualified. I want you to start a community, but I want you to know it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really challenging. It's going to be really draining and all that good stuff.
Yes, the cool kids. How you doing?
The cool kids. But that's why I gave the plug. It's about paying attention to people. What's up? Advocating for humanity. It's about paying attention to people, and I hope we're kind of modeling that. So like I'm willing to lose my thought to acknowledge the people who are coming into the chat, because I'm trying to model what actually paying attention to people is. If what I claim to be building is people-centric, then I have to be people-centric. You know, that's like, and thankfully it doesn't have to be a claim, but paying attention to people is the assignment. Right? When you're building community, that's the assignment. So the reason I think support is such a lost art form is because we are so convinced that it is literally what they do when they intend to sacrifice someone. Yikes. But you know, I lived the majority of my life believing that I was supposed to be a living sacrifice.
Wow.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy. It's like, yeah, it was like I'm a living sacrifice. I don't want to do this no more. But yeah, supporting people, the reason it's a lost art form is because most of us try to enforce or impose what we define as support on other people. And it's like, you can't, your security blanket may not be my security blanket.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I don't think anybody's going to be able to give us here's 5 ways to support the people you love. I don't think that exists. I think a better approach is to go to the people you love and say, what are 5 ways that I can support you? Go to the people you love and say, how can I support you? Hey, Patty, I'm just always going to be honest. It's the truth. It's the truth. Yes. It's how can I support you? Yes. Yep. Yeah, that right.
Nancy.
Hey, Nance. Yes, I love it. I'm sorry for shortening people's names. I shouldn't be doing that. But
I know I used to nickname everybody.
Man, it's a habit. Oh, it's definitely a habit. Like, man, don't be a white kid in the black community. You're immediately white your first name. So if you're Tom, hey, what's that? White Tom?
Yeah.
White Mike.
Yeah,
White Ralph. And it's like, wow, like just no creativity there. Sup, peeps? I love it. I love it. And then that's what I love about the community. And of course, this doesn't just happen in my channel, right? Oh man, you know,
it's a thing.
Well, you know, I will tell you this. Now, this is something, and straight up honesty. One thing that I did learn about preachers are a lot like comedians, because if you notice, many comedians can also sing. I don't know if y'all have ever heard Seth MacFarlane sing. Well, if you've watched Family Guy, you've heard Seth MacFarlane sing. But yeah, many comedians sing, and I think comedians and preachers can sing for the exact same reasons, because we spend our whole lives mimicking other people.
Yeah.
That's typically how you become a preacher. It starts off, yep, Frank. That's it.
Oh,
wow. No. What's up, Frank? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I always laugh at the name Frank because I wonder who looked at their beautiful newborn baby boy and said, oh, that's Frank. That's a Frank all day.
He made it here.
Yes. All people need different things for support. And so the best thing that I try to help people do is don't try to be a psychic with other people. Ask them. Let them really is. Like, I agree. I agree.
And that's
it is an art
thing. At least from my experience, growing up, sometimes you get afraid to ask questions because we've been so hindered every time you try to ask a question. Don't ask us that question, or let's not look into God. Already got it figured out. Yeah. You ain't got to worry about it, and then so you start to develop this habit of not asking the questions that need to be, and then being comfortable.
And then we did get a lot of and I want to be careful with this word, but somewhat emotional for fragility from media that taught us little things, and this mainly plays in romantic relationships. Well, I shouldn't have to tell you. You should already know. That's a trap every time. No, I'm not a psychic. No, I should not already know. I mean, I did go by the title prophet for a while, but no.
Ask your Lord and Savior.
You better ask God because I don't know. And so like communicate and you create ways, and that was the perfect rabbit trail to the segue, because the segue is communication, and we're talking about support. And how do you support? You communicate with people, and communicate. You're not telling them what they need to be supported. You're asking them. And then, especially for those of you who are going to be catalysts for community, you're going to be building community. You use that, what you're learning from people, to instill that into the values of your communities. God is sovereign. Okay, D, that's how I know you've been around Black people right there. That God is sovereign. His ways are higher than our ways. Every church mother I know, that yes, so much higher. Ooh. Oh wow. See,
thank you for sharing.
Yes, because I think that's the thing. We need it. We need more of it. Lots of it. Yeah. And the way that we ensure that it's supportive and respectful is by communicating. Like there really is no secret sauce. It's talking to people, learning from people, and respecting those people, right? Let's all just talk about getting high now. Oh, you know what? I love that though, because that is actually okay. So this is why I love Mr. Difficult, because that is actually profound in several different ways, and I'm gonna show you why. Now, because there is like when you're talking about building community and creating safe spaces for people, and talking about places where people can feel safe. I know I was redundant there, but when you're talking about that, there is a high for that. Like those endorphins get released there for sure. But then not only that, when you're just talking about celebrating people and the beauty of humanity, there's like a human high in that. And then if you're actually building community and y'all actually start doing stuff together, I think y'all have seen one of the videos where I've talked about that when human beings sing together, that thing that people experience in church that they often call the Holy Ghost or the Spirit or the anointing, it's also biological. It's something that you can make happen. Get together, sing some happy songs, and you're going to have yourself a jolly good time. Yeah. Now you throw some extra stuff in it, it's going to be a really good time. All right.
Pizza and buffalo wings and Coke.
Oh, that's her extra stuff. I can I like pineapples and stuff, and so. Let's stop. Okay.
So food is support for some.
Food is support for people. Food is very supportive for me. And I'm gonna tell you, my aunt figured this out about me at a very young age. This is how she realized that food was a part of my support system. This isn't how she figured out. This is how she would use it against me. If I got in trouble at school and I didn't come home and tell her about it, she would cook me something to eat. And then we just sit down and start eating, and then just start talking. And then just start coming out all the information. Oh yeah, absolutely. Things that we agree make cults bad tend to be present even in belief systems that aren't commonly thought of as cults. Yeah. Well, and I want to speak to that a little bit, because that is absolutely right. And I think the reason that happens is the majority of time outsiders learn about a cult, the cult has already been villainized. And so in your mind, this is already ugly. It doesn't even matter what they're doing. So you don't even do a part. You don't even separate this idea. You don't realize that the very same things you're saying David Koresh or Jim Jones or anybody else did, you're doing at your little First Assembly of God church, or your Kojic church, or your African Methodist Episcopal Church. And of course, I won't say all of them are doing it, but a lot of them are. And especially and I'll just be bold with it. Whoever want to crucify me can try. But many Black churches are 100% cultish. It's built around, and it's just because to me, all cults kind of built around of a personality cult. The moment you start worshiping someone else as the person who has the decisions for your life, that's just dangerous anyway.
Outside observers.
We need outside observers to show us sometimes.
And that's in life in general.
You're like, oh, this shit ain't normal. Yeah. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Well, damn. Here I was this whole time. Yep.
Very different.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. This. Very much so. I love it. I love it.
Stuff.
All right, so we can take our third segue then.
That is belonging and inclusion.
Yeah, if you want your community to be supportive, belonging and inclusion, if people don't feel like they belong, they damn sure ain't gonna feel like they're being supported.
Yeah.
You know. And again, I think we've been confused about these things. Yes. Marcus Garvey of Jamaica. Yeah. Somebody mentioned Garvey, or
you did at the beginning.
Y'all rewinding on me. Yep, Marcus Garvey of Jamaica. I still kind of consider myself a Garveyite in many aspects. When I first started learning about Garvey, that was like, it was beautiful for me as a black man. It was beautiful as a black intellect. It was beautiful for me. I had already read Du Bois. I'd already read Du Bois. I still messed him up. He did not like to be called Du Bois, so I try not to do that. Even though he's no longer here, I still like to respect that. But Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, and Douglass, when I was younger, Garvey was definitely the missing piece. When I read Garvey, that was it. Doing really good research. Ooh, okay. Daniela. Yes, Daniela. Not gonna mess up that middle name. Young is doing really good. Yeah. There's a lot of people doing it, and that's and that's something that I did say we were going to start doing that we didn't do this week. I said we were going to, and I think that's what I was trying to remember before we started. We need to start getting a list of other things that are going on in the community and announcing those things out. And that's Pastor Church still didn't feel like I belong. Right. Vie for power. Yeah. Oh, yes, for real. Of the forest. I love that. Yeah, like Lamar means of the sea. It can also mean dark waters. I like my name. Darante can mean gift of the beginning. See, I can do all of these big ego worshiping things with my name. I actually like it. Ooh.
For adoptee.
Wow. Yeah. That is beautiful. I love it all. I've gotten lost a little bit. I'm gonna find my what I was about to say something, I think.
Yeah, I think I was. One thing you went to, we were gonna start building that list and share.
Oh yes, community resources. That's another thing that for those of you who are gonna take on that charge of actually building communities where you are, that's another thing that you can that your community can be useful for, is becoming a repository of community resources, of connecting people to other secular communities, other secular organizations, other secular other secular channels, and that's literally something that wouldn't be a bad idea to do, is to go ahead and kind of itemizing these things, knowing gift of the beginning and dark waters. That's some Sumerian, yeah, man. I love it. Dang. But yeah, that stuff we can do itemize, because people need to know, like, if everybody's out there who's debunking stuff, we need to put them in a category and have them somewhere. If anybody asks, here are all the people doing this. Right. Everybody because then there's a lot of people doing stuff in mental health. There's a lot of people doing stuff in kind of undoing the work of the damage of purity culture. And so, like, the conversation in the secular community is vast. Yeah. And I think the people who take advantage of kind of categorizing that information and helping people get connected to it will be doing a huge service.
Or even meetup events, because I know even you have some churches who are planning trips for not just the kids, but the adults to come, like Disney World or the different theme parks. Eventually that can
Let's all go to Disney.
Yeah.
Actually, I've never been to Disney. I didn't want to go to Disney. I'm more of a Universal studio. So if y'all do all want to go to Universal, like, that would be one hell of a trip. But I'm not difficult. I'm not difficult. I'll go to Disney.
We only have one Mr. Difficult.
There's only one Mr. Difficult out here, But yeah. Oh, here they come. Why did I go there? Promote diversity and inclusion, celebrate community milestones and individual achievements. Now, that's a good way to be supportive of people, is to actually You know what? I've seen Universal in Japan, and it absolutely looks terrifying to me, and that makes me want to go. Like every theme park in Asia is like terrifying. Asians are like Texans in another way. Like it's, oh my goodness, yes, beautiful. Groups, and y'all, I will talk about groups till I am blue in the face. If you're building community, empower groups. That's one of the ways that'll help people find safe place. So I've talked about like interest groups and service groups, but also support groups and affinity groups, right? Especially because one thing that happens in a lot of crowds and lines, and I do not like crowds. You
Universal sometimes, depending on when you.
Yeah, I prefer to go to Universal in November. See, I don't even know what he's saying. He's cussing at me. No, let me stop. Let me stop. But yeah, groups. Make space for groups. Especially, let's say if there is any minority faction in your community as it's growing, try to empower that with a group. You know, whether that's racial, whether it's gender, whether it's sexual, create safe space for those people, even if it's economic. Again, you can say like a billion different things. Is be attentive. Ooh, I like that.
That pass. I think.
Well, the single rider thing is like if you're riding by yourself, then
you don't have to wait.
Then you don't necessarily have to wait. Yeah, that's not wrong. Oh, I like. Yep. Interest groups, support groups, you know, make sure people feel supported. Because oftentimes, and this is just speaking from someone, you know, who's been a minority in those type of spaces and have talked to other minorities. Now, I'm a social butterfly, so I can do my things and then go back in my cocoon and debrief later. But some people won't feel safe until they can talk to other people who they already know may feel the way that they feel. And that's sometimes difficult to navigate, but if you want to be intentional about building community, that's something you want to pay attention to. And I am all here for creating safe spaces for drinking a beer on the porch. You know, I wish we'd create a safe space for drinking beer on YouTube. That, you know, at this moment, I'm not even comfortable drinking beer here yet. But there's other reasons for that. It's not because I'm ashamed. I assure you, I have 2 cold ones waiting for me in the refrigerator right now. Yeah, belonging and inclusion. So, okay, let me hit these kind of from the top. So, building supportive community. Make sure people are safe and secure. Like, invest in that mentally. Make sure that you've thought through the basic communications, conflict resolutions. There was something else that I said about that. Thinking about when things should be confidential and how you want to handle that. And then just again, and the best way to handle all this stuff again is, what is it? Talk to people, you know, ask them, you know, don't assume. Again, coming from the church world, that was always the default position. The default position is, I know what's better for you.
Yeah.
Ooh, do they really? Okay, and now I have to watch this.
Then there's hot ones, but that's just
that's not alcohol, but I can do that. I can do cold. Now I want to do cold ones and hot ones at the same time. Yeah. I want to do cold ones and hot ones at the same time, and let's make it a challenge, damn it. Let's make it a challenge. Fun. Oh, that's good. Yeah. And then we did belonging and inclusion. But then also collaboration and contribution. A thriving community is one where members actively collaborate and contribute. Encourage project collaborations, facilitate mentorship programs, recognize and reward contributions. Different cultures and may have an entirely different set of experiences regarding religion. Ask them, talk to them, because that's one of those things that I'm really excited about. And watch this. This is one of the reasons why I often bill myself as anti.
Have a good one, D.
Oh yes, get your vitamin D. Oh yeah. Oh, I did do a deep drinks. I forgot I did a deep drinks. Because what was I drinking on deep drinks? What was the early days really? What was I drinking on deep drinks?
Was it Paul Mason?
Paul Masson. Peach Paul. I had some Peach Paul. Dang, I was saying something else too. Oh yeah. Yeah, I won.
You asked to go to the groups.
Oh, the religion thing. This is why I bill myself as anti-superstition, not necessarily anti-religion, because religion is cultural, right? People don't have to attach themselves to the beliefs. And so when you have people who join your community and may come from a different religious background, my advice would be don't focus on the beliefs. Try to see if they'd be interested in having conversations about that culture. And you'd be surprised how at ease that sets other people at. And it actually makes one hell of an interesting conversation. Oh yeah. Happy Big Mother's Day to all. Yes. But yeah, and because I think if we're building community, I think that's one of the things we should kind of get excited about when you see somebody come in who does come from those different type of cultural backgrounds, whether those cultural be religious, racial, whatever, what may have you. There are all types of cultures and subcultures, but the big key is just not making them feel like they have to look like you, dress like you, behave like you, speak like you, believe like you, agree with you, or any of that. And you find out that actually turns out to be incredibly easy to do. It turns out outside of indoctrination, it's so easy to get a bunch of adults together without them feeling like I have to fight you if you disagree.
Right.
And then just genuinely being interested and invested in their story and what they're seeking from the community. I think if you do that, that's going to be the best foot forward every time. And that I think that will make them feel welcome. The key to that again is asking them, hey, are my questions offensive? You know, I'm a firm believer in allowing other people to educate you on them. You know, educate me on you. Let me know, because I don't know. I'll do my best not to be offensive, you know, or anything. I am an assertive person, and that's one thing you will learn about me. I spent too many years being passive, so I'm very much assertive. But I'm not aggressive. I'm not abrasive in any point of view. So any shape, form, or fashion. So you just ask people and just be like, hey, is there a better question I could be asking you? And then, and again, especially if they're coming to the community, they're coming there because there's something that they want there. And man, one of the biggest questions you can ask somebody is, how may I help you?
Yeah.
You know,
that's straight to the point.
I love it. I almost said, and do you want fries with that? That I'd never be mad at that. I like fries.
And that leads to, honestly, collaboration and contribution. You build that type of environment.
Because that's what you're collaborating and support. You know, you're collaborating and support. You know, you're helping me support you. You know, onion rings, yeah. I can't eat onions. Well, I can't. I can eat them if they're cooked, but onion rings are typically not cooked enough for me to eat.
When it's
Love
thick.
The crust. Just like fried stuff. We just greedy. We just greedy. Just like fried stuff. But yeah, project collaborations. You know, if your community's not doing anything together, then it's just like, so, you know, collaborate on stuff. Facilitate mentorship programs. It is a big problem. It absolutely is. And I think it's ooh, yeah. Yeah. No, I like fried sushi. I can do fried sushi. Yeah, no, I do think, and I think the reason why it is still a big problem is because that conversation isn't being put out there all the way, you know. And I don't want to put that on anybody. Now, what you will learn about me, and this may aggravate you, is that I have an anti-blame kind of policy. So I don't necessarily, and not that anybody's asking me to blame anybody, but so I don't blame. So when I look at problems in the community, I don't say whose fault is this. It's not productive for me. Because when I get mad, I get really mad, and you don't want that. So instead, I typically look for yeah.
Really?
That was when he said fried sushi, I was like, oh yeah, I've had tilapia, I've had catfish, I've had rockfish, which I actually enjoy. Rockfish, wow, man. Yep. It has been There has been some things. There have been some things. I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, and it definitely need that. Definitely need that. And that's why when someone asked me a few weeks ago if I thought that we should either just all of us support one community or everybody start different ones, I think, yeah, it's just, yep, let's address that. Let's address that. And unvalued. There really is. Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it. And we have to, that's some stuff that's why I am of the fashion of the idea, instead of, having one ring to rule them all. And this is why I say anybody who wants to be a catalyst for community and you don't want to be affiliated with me, I'm not going to be offended, because I think the only way we get something that's representative of the diversity of humanity is if there are diverse manifestations of it and diverse applications of it. And so I am a fan, even if, and I know it's not going to be pretty. Oh yeah, but advocating for profiling at airports, or it is absolutely is going too far, and that, yeah, that I can't even lie, that yeah, it ticked me off a little bit.
Gears.
Yeah, boils my potatoes. It vexes my Volkswagen. No, there is when they found out yeah. Like, dude, we agree on a lot, just not everything. I have a spaghetti monster I worship. You don't. Really is. And that's one thing that I do want to make clear about bridge communities, is that the only thing I ask for people who are affiliated with bridge communities is that please don't treat people bad if they still believe things. That's not the goal. The goal of is Creflo's my dollars, right? Oh, I'm doing it. Benny's my hens, Kenneth's my Copelands, Paula's my whites. Oh my goodness. This is the song that doesn't end. That is stuck in my head. Bishop TD's my Jakes. That went there.
You gonna leave him out?
Oh, that's
not
funny.
To be confused with
I don't want to be. I don't want to be accused of being at those parties, I guess, is where we're going there.
No Diddy.
Oh, no Diddy's, no doubts. Absolutely. Because the major part of this for me, all right, so I am an atheist, but what I kind of hold paramount for me, at least right now, and even that exists on a spectrum, is a humanist. Yes, that they need to be plentiful and interconnected for extra enrichment for all. Yes. Oh wow, I love that. I love it. That's the only way we get that. I mean, if we create something where okay, it's just one ring that rules them all, there's too much temptation to be defined as a proper skeptic, a proper non-believer, and then everything just becomes a no true Scotsman's fallacy. Well, no real atheist would do this, or no real unbeliever would do this, and no real Christian would do this, and instead, what we would like to do with bridge communities is that the community itself doesn't have a deity, doesn't have a doctrine, and we are radically inclusive. Those are like our core community commitments. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, ironic that is ironic, isn't it? It is. Wow. That is funny. And I've never thought about that, but you are absolutely, that is like a purity culture thing. I think my subscribers, even they'll check me on it every now and then, because I can go hard in the paint every now and then. But I think one of our goals is to be people-centric, and so it's just like, don't do stuff that harms people.
Yeah.
Either
way,
Either way.
On all sides.
Yeah. In terms of the definition, I agree. Yep. I definitely accept. I understand that. Neil deGrasse Tyson is the same way. The only reason I even became comfortable going as far to calling myself as an atheist is just to make it clear to other people. But it does get very militaristic at times, which is utterly unnecessary.
The Bahamas.
Wow, man. Jehovah's Witnesses, man, everywhere. I love the Bahamas. Glad to have you here with us, man. That's beautiful.
Their own definitions based on their own
biases.
That's a good point out.
That's it. And that's typically how that goes, which is why, I kind of say, I'm a humanist, but even that's on a spectrum, because, you know, the more we change, eventually, you know, that's kind of
globalist.
you know, I'm just a lifeist. I'm not, you know, I don't even know. I just don't want to hurt nobody. I ain't trying to hurt nobody. Oh, that's an R. Kelly song. I don't think I'm allowed to sing those. But you know, yes, man, I love these.
Isley Brothers too.
I could, well, you know, Isley did sing with R. Kelly. There may be some stories there. Ooh, but and that's the point. I think what, to me, the dangerous thing about church is that it did not give people life is, you know, it didn't give people permission to explore, and it didn't give them room to explore, and it didn't give them safety to explore. And I wouldn't want to see atheist communities become just as dogmatic as that.
Right.
I want people to explore their different expressions, which is why, like, I know certain people I'm not against the term spirituality. Now, I do define spirituality within socially and physically measurable things, everything in moderation. Yeah. I define these things, but I don't try to impose my definition of that on other people. Nor do I let other people take my definition of it, nor do I find it something to be important enough to disconnect or divide over. And so we do need to, well, okay, that's a good one. The ideas themselves can be harmful, but we should, this is a thin line. Oof. Why you do this to me? Put it back up there so everybody know that they asked it, and I'm not just talking about this for no reason. Why you put me in this trap? But this is a valid concern, right? Godly, this is valid, because and that idea, it can be very harmful, especially if people catch on to it and decide to do it.
I think one first route is to continue to educate ourselves, because my husband used to have this saying, what I know to be true today may not be true tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so if we don't get locked in, and that's what happened I feel like it happened with our parents, our ancestors, so forth and so forth, they got locked in and stopped educating themselves. We have to continue to feed ourselves new information as it comes in. Mm-hmm. New technologies are being developed, right? New findings, new research. And so if we continue to do that, we can continue to keep ourselves from being locked into harmful thoughts or harmful ways of thinking or behavior, and so forth and so forth.
And that's another great way that your community can become a repository for those informations. I love that. Can become a repository for that information as it's coming out, and to create a safe place for those healthy conversations. And the reason I think this is such a valid concern, because I was not happy with the way the vaccine situation was handled on either sides. You don't tell people to trust the science while only pointing to a scientist. It's not how science works. A great way to do that, if you have anti-vaxxers who are part of your community. Now, I want to draw a distinction that there are people who have sincerely held beliefs, you know, because these beliefs are important to them. But then there are people who are kind of trolls. I don't have any advice for those. But yeah. Oh yeah, those are some legal lines there. Those are some legal lines there. Yeah. Never underestimate the danger of woo, for sure. I'm actually oh, that's funny. Dang.
You guys are just
dang. But yeah. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what I love. That's what I love. Address the issue. Have the conversation. Talk to the people. And don't feel the need. Don't embrace the tendency to villainize people if they disagree. Unless they become villains.
That's good, Maya. Address the concerns with people who are informed, the experts. That's
who understand the topic. That's right. That's right.
So much.
Yep. And that's, again, that comes back. That's why community is so important. Like, literally. That's funny, right? That's why community is so important, because, like, in an age of bots and misinformation, is creating safe spaces that, for some people, that'll be the only way they can really filter through a lot of the foolishness.
Yeah. Some refuse to listen. Yeah.
Yep. And when you do that, those are lines that you do have to kind of draw, and that's where the having some conflict resolution stuff in place kind of goes in there, and then just also having some policies. And I think there's a way to do things in love. There's a way to do things without dehumanizing people. And then of course, if they just have the ideas and they're not doing anything to anybody else, then for the most part that can be fine. But of course, there's no blanket answer. It is definitely one of those situations where you have to be mindful of everybody involved. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's very interesting, and that's what happens. A lot of people have a bad experience of understanding it, and for me, almost everybody I've heard use the term spiritual, and who were using the term in good faith about an experience they had. The experience they described to me was something that existed within the realm of physics. It existed within the realms of psychology, neurology, and sociology. And so I didn't try to take that experience from them. I didn't say, "Oh no, that's not this," but as a matter of fact, I learned from it.
Yes.
Yeah. Until after embarked on my first religion. Yes. Perspective. Absolutely. Absolutely. And people need those safe places to gain that perspective. And because we're not in the habit of converting people, I think we should be okay understanding that everybody's not going to get it, when you say something to them the first time. And I think the biggest change in the conversation is just being okay with that. Keep empowering them with information, because here's the thing. If your community is promoting information like that and they're anti that information, they're going to stop coming to the community eventually, unless they're just trying to cause trouble. But if they're still coming to the community, that means they either agree or open to the information, or they feel so accepted by you and that you guys have such good intentions that they're still hanging out too. I appreciate the subscribe. I ain't never mad. I love it. I love it.
So we were talking about encouraging project collaborations,
mentorship programs, and recognize and reward contributions, which this last thing, so that's 5. The last one is self-actualization and empowerment. The pinnacle of community needs is the opportunity for self-actualization, where members feel empowered to realize their full potential. And hear me when I say this, as they see. All right.
That's good. Not as you see.
Again, the default position from the church world is, I know better than you. I know what you know. The goal here would be for people to actualize, oh yeah, I saw a lot of that. The goal here would be to help people fulfill their potential as they see fit. I'm hyper productive. If I try to hold people to my standards, to the standards that I try to hold myself to, I will absolutely harm people. It will be harm for people. If I I think I've tried, Oh, thank you. Yay.
Appreciate it.
Oh, kiss cam. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Man. See, I forgot what I said too. These ads are a thing. What did I say, babe? Oh, pinnacle of community needs is the opportunity for self-actualization, where members feel empowered to realize their full potential. And just I was given a reminder to let that be defined by them, not by anybody else in the community. Because we all do like, hey, I know what your potential is, and it's like, no, you don't. And even if you do, you don't know where that person's, for lack of better words, because y'all know I don't like using this words, limits are. The ads are disrespectful, right? So you want to respect people's autonomy at all costs, because I think that's one of the things a lot of people had to give up to be a part of superstitious community, for lack of better words. And so for this style of community, I would increasingly urge, respect people's autonomy. Don't you try to tell them what their potential is, what their limits is. Babe, are we kissing on Kiss Cam?
On Kiss Cam.
Yeah. But you want to respect where people are, you know, and help them grow. Now, if you really think, oh, I think they could be doing so much more, then you can find a way to lovingly entertain that conversation with them. But please, self-actualization, the key word there is self. It's up to them.
Good. Yeah.
It's up to them. Please don't try to define that for them. It is so tempting. It is so tempting. But please don't try to define that for them. Offer leadership opportunities in your community. I'm one of those people that I really do believe that everybody's a leader, because I believe leadership is one of those words. I believe leadership is one of those words that's gotten overinflated in a lot of ways, and that's gotten overinflated, and so it's made people feel like, oh, in order to be a leader, I have to be this big thing, and it's like, no, leader is just a person who's responsible for something. It's really that simple. And so you want to give people opportunities for responsibility, because we all get a sense of pride for things that we're responsible for, that we actually wanted to be responsible for, you know. Provide educational resources and workshops. If your community does nothing else, please do that. Like that's like my big flag. Like, let's educate. And I don't like to necessarily say let's educate. You know, I tell people educate me, but I prefer to use this. It's now corporate ship, right? Ooh, I want that title. You're a corporate ship. You shall now refer to me as your corporate ship. No, I do like that though. I'm using that in one of my novels. Somebody's going to be called your corporate ship. It'll have to be somebody that's in one of the faraway galaxies. Things like that. More technocratic. Okay, I'm geeking out a little bit. Ooh, wow, man. Okay, so now I'm going to want to talk to you more. But once you, outside looking in, you can see the whole sewing kit. That is the whole truth. Oh yes, that is a conversation. I think so. Right. Oh man, see, now let me tell you something. You almost got my hopes up there, Tom. I almost thought that was a $499 super chat. We're about to make the rest of this whole episode about you. That's what you get, folks, for $4.99. You send in a $4.99 super chat, the whole conversation becomes about you. Heck, the whole month of conversation. No, let me stop. I'm not that cheap. You see how I did that there? Okay.
But I do love that you mentioned providing educational resources and workshops, because we were at one point homeschooling, and we pulled so many resources and things that other parents or groups can use for homeschooling and getting into it. Each state is different. And so when we were starting, I researched multiple states, even the states that we were in. Yeah. And so helping resources are important, because some people literally think they can't get resources, but when you start pulling together, you realize, oh, it's right there, it's available. Everybody doesn't have time to pull it together.
There's an economic principle that I started living by. Yes, absolutely. Well, and I see it a lot in my community for sure. But economic principle that I lived by for a while was eat the whole pig. Is actually eat the whole damn pig. But it's just like it's make use of everything that you have, and it is something that I do share with people when doing community work, specifically more so in community mobilization. And because a lot of times people will say, well, we don't have the money to do this, or we don't have the support to do this, and we don't have the such and such, and it's just like, okay, I know this pig isn't the best thing in the world, but just eat the whole pig, you know, which basically means use everything you have, use whatever's at your disposal. And then what you will be surprised of is once you start pulling people together. And I find this funny that this is so hard for some people to catch on to, especially those of us who were Christians. Yeah. Especially those people who were Christians, because that was the Bible, right? Because many of the stories in the Bible kind of say that, you know, like Moses at the Red Sea. Oh, what do I do? Moses, what's in your hand? You know, the prophet goes to pray for the kid that died. Okay, what should I do? Take the staff that's in your hand. the woman who's the children, who's her child is getting ready to be sold into slavery because of her ex-husband's debt or widowed husband's debt. Oh, I don't have any money. And the prophet says, what do you have in your house? When Jesus does the feeding of the 5,000, is that how we going to feed all these people? Go out among the people and see what you have among them. That's one of the things that I ended up getting frustrated with as a Christian on my latter end, is that people were so caught up in the poetry that they were missing the point. And and now when I say point, I'm just like, okay, but what's the point? But anyway, at least for me as a sociologist, that's kind of what I ended up pulling out for those final years, and that is, don't wait for anybody else. Get the people together that are willing to do something, and you'd be surprised at what you're able to get done. Especially because, like, we literally don't live in the dark ages. We have computers, we have internet. And like, your internet is access to pretty much to your internet is a walking library. And now because of ChatGPT, you can literally talk to it. So, the resources are out there. It's I think the problem is sometimes we believe more in the resources than we do ourselves. And I really wish we'd understand how poignant human capacity is. Especially when we're working together. I feel like I was interrupting you. Were you about to say something?
Oh no, you good.
You sure?
You're on it, yeah.
I feel like I was just going. And then that last part with that one is just foster an environment of continuous learning and growth. And that's, especially for those of you who are going to be affiliated with us, that's one of the things I definitely ask. Make sure that your communities are an environment, because one of our major values is what? Progressive thinking. So progressive thinking. Make an environment of continuous learning and growth. And it doesn't have to be, and I think I will publicly critique. I think this is what happens to some of the other secular communities like Oasis and Sunday's Assembly. They're still struggling with how to craft the Sunday experience. And Sunday Assembly is doing great, but they're still struggling there because sometimes it just feels like science class, and that's not necessarily what you want for your main experience. You want, from my perspective, it's going to be about that personal growth and stuff like that. Use your small groups to get more into the more nuanced things, and then use the growth of your small groups to put on larger events. And so that way, every Sunday doesn't feel like, if you're doing Sundays, I don't know what you're doing, but every weekend doesn't feel like a random science lesson. You want to connect it and actually connect it to the concerns that the people have. It does. Such a buzzword. Yep. Every time. Well, even like one of our values is life-affirming. And that's a hard one for people, because there are people who use the term life-affirming to mean pro-life, and which I am pro-life, as in the fact that I celebrate people's lives and I want everybody to have a life. But yeah, everything in the universe progresses. It keeps right on trucking. Keep on trucking.
I think, to me, from my experience, people who don't like the word progressive, me coming from the Black church experience, is because they don't want to progress. They want to be codified in their excuses, in their tradition of mistreating people.
I didn't say it.
And how they think. So it's time that we kind of grow up and mature. Just from speaking from my little group here.
Okay, I didn't say it. Now, I agree. I 100% agree, and I'm normally the person who says it. I try to be careful, but she said it. I 100% agree. Yep, absolutely. That's we you're speaking my language. We're speaking my language. Man, there's been so many good segues in this. Because man, godly, and we're at the end, but I don't want to end.
Yes.
She did, didn't she? Like that was beautiful. Power to the people, right? Bridge the gap, conserve the progress. Yes. You know. Well, I wouldn't say never, but he did call a woman a dog. I mean, like that's pretty impressive.
Peer pressure.
And he did tell rich people to sell everything they own. And no, I know we're not necessarily, fans of the rich, but I wonder what happened to those people's families after that. It's like, hey, Jesus told me to sell everything, so guess what? We po now. If a person did that today, we'd consider that person a scam artist. Yeah. We would there for sure. But no, I will agree with you. Blessed be He, that there are some beautiful things in the character of Jesus. I think Jesus, in much ways, is like a Targaryen in the way that we can interpret that coin on either side. But no, I don't want to tear anybody's characterization of anybody away, because that's even with some of my favorite characters. Period. And there are some good things there. I'll never be the person to say everything about Jesus is evil and bad. Number one, as an author, I find that to be an asinine approach anyway. All the dangerous things that have been done in association with Jesus were done by people who were not Jesus, and so I can give him that pass. I can give him that pass. And of course, because I don't, yeah. You know what? I have too. But hey, that's because look, that's who I was in the church. That's who I was in the church. Let's do it. Because honestly, Tom, when I first, and my wife is a witness, when I first started writing these, I don't think I know what that is, but if you tell me what it is, I'll answer. When I first started writing novels, the goal was not to be writing novels per se. I actually just wanted to, I had a bunch of writing ideas. I didn't want to write them by myself. I actually wanted to start some writing groups, and then we'd all write stories, because then I figured we can write them faster and write them more detailed and with more depths. That's how great things get done. Yeah, I'm there too. Literally, yep. And did, yes. Oh, yes. But yeah, Tom, let's actually talk about that. I'd be down for that. I love. Once saved, always saved.
On my experience, we were taught that if you come down the aisle, well, it depends on who was the pastor.
Depending on what church you was in.
Yeah, what church? Because some, if you didn't get baptized, you weren't really saved. And I never got baptized, never wanted to. But
no,
are some.
I did not believe it personally. I didn't teach it either, though, and nor did I teach the other thing of it. With those things, I was the type of believer who said, if we have no way of knowing, we shouldn't be saying it. And so that's so I didn't even tell people they were saved. At altar calls at my church, it was like, whatever happened between you and the Lord, that's between you and him. I'm not going to tell you you're saved. Never. I'm thinking that's never saved. I don't know. Oh man, never saved, don't need saving. I love it. I love it. I want to see that on a t-shirt.
Well, who said don't save? Was that Jacob?
Oh yeah. So that's kind of like universalism, or kind of like, yeah. And I have scripture evidence to back it up. Usually, well, that's what that's what I often remind people of Carlton Pearson, who was a Christian pastor, mega church pastor, because everybody says if these mega church pastors would just tell the truth, then and I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Because Carlton Pearson, that's what he started teaching, and they did a Netflix special about him. I think it's called Come Sunday or something like that. But that just sounds so bad. But dang, now I can't get past that in my head. Yikes. But Carlton Pearson started preaching that God is ultimate love, and nobody's going to go to hell, and everybody's going to be saved, and he actually started preaching that if your version of theology is that that people still need to be saved, then you make the cross weak, and so that's where he preached that, and literally he lost 95% of his congregation in a month.
And that's crazy. He was just trying to be nice.
Yeah, he was just trying to be nice. But that does show you that there are quite a few theists who have an unhealthy attachment to hell. Like their belief, and those are the members who left. They're not preachers, they members. Those members left because their pastor said God wants everybody to not burn in fire. And they were like, oh no. Saved from Jesus, by Jesus. Wow. Dang, was that the dog? Or was that Maya?
That was Wonder Girl.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna close out. Building a supportive community is a multi-layered process that addresses various human needs from basic safety to self-actualization. By understanding and applying this sort of hierarchy of community needs, we can create spaces where individuals not only feel safe and included, but are also empowered to contribute and to grow in the same way that many of us are now. It really is extortion, you know? They don't need to be saved. They have to save. And you know, that's the funny thing, because I started preaching this when I was on the fringes, is that the first gospel message, which is preached by Peter, is save yourself. That's the first gospel message.
Yeah.
Right, man. Thank you. Just to wrap up, man, next week's conversation, we're doing a new series.
Woo-hoo.
Next week, we're starting How to Human. So we're moving from talking about building secular community, and we're just going to be doing secular community from now on. And we'll be talking about empathy as an evolutionary necessity for humanity. And we'll be in that probably for about 5 weeks as well. This was actually a subscriber suggested conversation. A subscriber mentioned it 2 weeks ago on one of our Sunday sessions. And I was like, oh, that is an incredible idea. I think so. Like it has to be. I need to stop. I thought it was an incredible idea. And so we're going to have this conversation about what it means to be, about how to human and how that may mean something unique for all of us. And so next week's starting conversation will be when people met people. And so we're going to have fun there. And babe, I'll let you do the little closing remarks, and then I'll do my final tidbit, and then we will pop out of this piece.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Sunday sessions. Again, happy Mother's Day to all that it applies to. Consider joining us next week. Again, we love having you, and we love hearing your thoughts, your experiences, your insight, your feedback. All of that is good, as long as we're doing it in a healthy way, with all of our eyes and ears open, right? And so don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out my husband's community page. He keeps it live in there. He tries to update you guys. So make sure you like and commenting there as well. That's where you can stay updated on what's going on from the day to day, right? Don't forget, we are looking for volunteers if you would love to help us out,
because I need help knowing what's going on. I can't. It's a lot, and I can't keep up. And I keep adding stuff to myself. It's me that's doing it.
Yeah, and I'm losing y'all's comments. Okay. So we're gonna keep posting these here. Make sure you share with everybody that you can. As you see, we're open. We're open on our end as well. You're so welcome. If you are interested in financially supporting the work that my husband does, that we do together, because it's a we. So if you only see my husband, you're seeing me. All right. Okay. Okay.
Okay, dude.
But if you're looking to support, we made it easy. You can join Patreon. You can send his Cashapp. His birthday's coming up. He'd be 1 more year older. He's turning 38. So if you love to send a 3 or 8 or 3800.
Okay. I won't be rejecting it. I tell you that for sure. If you send it, don't ask for it back.
Don't ask for it back. But we definitely appreciate those avenues. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
You can also be a YouTube member, whichever is easier, but for you guys. But just showing up does a lot. Commenting does a lot. Liking does a lot. So we thank you for that as well.
Ooh, I love that.
Yes.
That's a great idea, James. I love that. Yep, 38.
38.
I'll be 38.
You can also.
I'm curious to know how old y'all thought I was.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, only 38. Not too old yet.
Not too old. This is a good prequel to 40. This is a good prequel.
Yes. You can also do super chats. You can look at any of the links in the description below as well. If you're enjoying these conversations, continue to comment even after the live. That is much appreciated, because the live chats doesn't always show up right away. You like how we? Yes.
Yay! I know it, right? I know. Yeah, we're open on Sunday for the heathens, for the fringe folk, and then just for the people who may still be believers but just want to be in a place that's maybe a little healthier, And
absolutely not 46, Tom. 46.
Dang, put me up there. Well, I have always been old for my age. Like I started. A little thing about me. Yeah, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 7 years old. I think that's why my voice is the way that it is. And I haven't been carded since I was 12. Like I've always
every time older. People think I'm in my 20s. I'm like, oh, thank you.
She can't get me alcohol. If she goes buy me alcohol, they're gonna ask her for her ID every time.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that'd be interesting. That would be interesting. Yeah. I'll say my Hail Marys. If you're interested in being a core community, is that a word? If you're interested in being a core member of our little community experiment, email us or fill out a volunteer form on our website. And then I'm also, we're going to drop some other forms in here. Drop them one at a time and see if they'll highlight.
They highlighted last week.
They did? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. The first one, which we answer, we do answer these forms. Thank you so much. Absolutely. We do one called How May We Help You? And so that's just a form of, anything that may be on your mind that maybe we can address here. Maybe it's resources that we can send your way. Maybe it's a need that we can kind of alert the community about. Maybe it's, it really could be anything, but it's how may we help you?
B community.
And we'll treat Cardi B. That's hilarious. Cardi B community. Oh, hilarious. Also, because last week we did have someone fill out that, and so I'll respond to that. Critique some Christian media. Ooh, yeah. Also, we do an accepting the invite form, and that's just because typically at the end of these Sunday sessions, or just all the way through them, we're typically extending an invite to partner with us in community. And so we decided to create a form for that to capture the people who are interested in that one. And so that form is you accepting the invitation to either help build this online community. And for those of you who said that last week, we're going to reach out to you this week. I promise. Everything has been busy. Or if you're going to help build a local community where you are, we'd love to be able to help you there. If you just want to connect to learn more about building community, you're not necessarily ready to help build a community. You don't want to build online community. You don't want to build local community. You just want to learn about it. Then, hey, you can do that. Or you just I just want to connect because I want to learn more about personal growth. I see that seems to be a passion for what y'all are trying to do. And I kind of need some of that in my life. That's another reason to connect. Or if you just want to connect with the community, it's just I don't really need anything right now, but I do kind of like this community vibe. So let's do it. Then we're all down for that as well. I know it, right? Hey, I'm more than happy to help in whatever way I can. One of the things I like doing is just pulling people together and getting advice from everybody, and because we can make some things happen. Yeah. And then that last form is sign me up. Put me in. And let me explain this one a little bit too, which is there's only 3 options, which you can click all 3. And the options are that means you're signing up to be a part of a catalyst team, a core team, or a committed team. Here's the tricky part on that one. If you're signing up to be a part of a core team or a committed team, and there isn't a catalyst team in your area yet, you're going to be waiting for a while. But please still do it so we'll know that you're there. So let's say if you say, no, I want, and we kind of give the descriptions like a catalyst team is, I want to be a part of something that's I want to be the reason a secular community gets started where I am. I want to be a catalyst for community. I want to be a part of that core group. I want to be a part of that core leadership structure. I want to get that started. Core team is, if there's an established group, I want to help them do things. I'll be willing to take over a core responsibility for that campus, for that community. A committed team is, I'll serve on one of the teams. I like that. Okay, I like that. Right. And so if you do core team and there's not anybody with catalyst interest in your area yet, as soon as we have someone with that has catalyst interest in your area, we'll get you connected, and vice versa. If you're Catalyst area, if you go Catalyst, then I expect you to be doing some of the core stuff too. But also, if people fill out forms, that's the way we do that. So those are those 2 forms, right? Right. Yes. Dang, that's rough. 15 years old is middle age. Yeah. Like, and then like there's a joke aspect to that too, and then it's like, oh no, there's also a sad aspect to that too. That means that life expectancy. That means 30 is it. So woof, dang, that was heavy. That was heavy. But so those are the 3 forms, just different ways that you can connect, get involved. And we're still trying to figure out what getting involved means. That's one of the challenges we have to work on this week with the people who've connected to help us build this online community, which is mostly the work that we do on Sundays. And so you'll probably be seeing some new faces, some new team members and things of that nature. So that's all exciting. Babe, do you have anything else?
Well, again, happy Mother's Day and safe travels for my husband. Just gonna do that one.
Oh yeah,
is leaving for Palo Alto.
And y'all, like, this is actually gonna be the first time I've been away from my family, and it's gonna be on my birthday. Yeah. And that's not something I like. It's not something I'm not necessarily happy about. You'll hear me talk about, like, I'm a parent on purpose. I have a family on purpose. I'm married on purpose. So I enjoy my wife. I enjoy my wife. I enjoy my children. I don't have the type of children that I need a break from. You know, they maybe need a break from me. But it's going to be a little, it'll be a little different for me. Possibly even a little emotional, because like I said, I'll be away from the most important people to me in the world. I will be away from them for 3 days. And my birthday will be the middle day, which that part I don't care too much about. I'm not really big into birthdays anyway, and we'll celebrate when I get back.
We're gonna have some crabs this weekend.
Crab legs next weekend. Yep. Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. All right, I'm going to shut up before I start tearing up. Again, thank y'all for being here. I love you all so much. We're so happy to be connected with all of you, and this has just been a great privilege. Can't wait to see you again next Sunday. And Tom, I am definitely taking that advice. I think I screwed up my algorithm majorly this week by doing a batch upload, trying to get it out the way. I will slow down on that. But other than that, man, love you all. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And until next time, keep rising. Holla at you.